Six's vice is fear. And this tends to play out, it tends to look a lot more like anxiety. These can be very anxious people. These are people who their sense of authority is placed outward. They have a feeling that like they can't really meet the needs of life for whatever reason. And so they're constantly looking for authority figures to kind of bolster themselves. They're the people who, some sixes, all sixes are very in tune to authority. Some sixes place themselves kind of wholeheartedly underneath it. Like, you are the leader and I am the servant. I am the minion of sorts. And then some sixes push back against authority. They're like, you don't deserve to be an authority. You're not good for whatever reason. And so, like, I'm not going to do what you say. And so there can often be this kind of push and pull for sixes. Like, sixes will often ask for advice. And they'll be like, what do you think I should do, A or B? And then you'll say, oh, A. And they'll be like, well, what about B? And then they'll start talking about B, and you'll be like, yeah, B. And then they'll be like, well, what about A? And then they'll start talking about A. So there's a lot of kind of back and forth. Some sixes are called the devil's advocate or the loyal skeptic. So you get this sense of like push and pull with a lot of things that they're doing. And it's all stemming from the fact that they're afraid that they're not going to be able to meet life. These are the worst case scenario planners. They're using their minds in order to like make sure they have a contingency plan for everything. But when sixes start to address their anxiety and start to really engage in their inner work, they develop the virtue of faith. And this faith is something that's deep and it's internal. And it's not so much courage. Some Enneagram teachers talk about, oh, it's courage. Like, courage is the opposite of fear. And really, no, it's faith. It's this deep trust that they can move out into the world, that they can trust themselves. Sixes they don't trust themselves. Sometimes they don't trust other people, which makes things really hard. But they deeply don't trust themselves, and so they rely on other people to kind of bolster their sense of being in the world. Sixes grow the most by developing that sense of their own inner voice. So developing a sense of their own inner authority. A lot of sixes can go to yoga teachers and studios where they just kind of put themselves underneath the teacher and will do whatever the teacher says, no matter what. But sixes grow the most in a yoga practice where they have a teacher who is guiding them to listen to their own voice. So instead of having to rely on other people, they're developing that sense of internal authority. That's where sixes are going to grow the most. And they experience presence as a strong and stable inner knowing, which is huge for sixes. You can imagine swimming in anxiety all the time. But when you are present and you develop that strong stability within yourself, that's magic. Like, being present is magic for all of the numbers. And like, that's magic for a six. Like, trusting their own inner voice.